gentlemen, welcome back to A Hoops Journey. You may know the name, you may have forgotten the name, but I think this is going to be a great episode in terms of someone who's BC born and raised, but was kind of ahead of the game in terms of the decisions and choices he made going down south and moving forward with basketball, which I'm really looking forward to getting to know more about, because it's a common and more common thing that we're seeing in the game. And so this gentleman went from, Surrey, BC to Orangeville to Lehigh to Boston College, now representing the Czech National team, has played for the Bandits. My guy Harp and my guy Blake been on me for a long time to get this guy in the show, and we've been juggling life, and we're looking forward to, we got probably the hottest day of the summer here to chop it up, but he must have AC because he's rocking a hoodie while I'm upstairs. I might go tarps off here. We have none other than Mr. James Karnik with us today. How you doing, man?
Doing great. Thank you for having me.
No worries. How's life? I mean, obviously the pedals have been moving a lot for you in life the last, 730 days or more. You find yourself home a little bit with some time to pause and sort of gather. How's that been? Saw you recently at a Bandits game and just doing all that and enjoying a Vancouver summer. How's it been, man?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. It's been a rocky journey for me a little bit recently. I've been kind of suffering with a little bit of tendinitis in my left knee that kind of turned into tendinosis. So I'm kind of on the road to recovery, but it's pushing myself to still get better while still giving my body time to rest. So that's kind of what I'm doing. But there's a lot of opportunities that kind of taken my way of spending time with family. And I'm so grateful for that because this is the most time I've been home since 15. So yeah. And then my mom has a broken foot right now. My dad just tore his hamstring. So I'm kind of having to help around the house. So honestly, everything kind of happens for a reason. So I'm really grateful for this time. It's frustrating that I'm having to kind of deal with this, but I know my knee's healthy. I just have to take the time to rest. But yeah, it's been great time being home. No rain this summer, so I can't complain.
Crazy. Yeah.
I know I haven't been home for a full summer in a long time, but I do not remember them being like this. So I'm really grateful for that as well.
Yeah, no, it's the last couple summers have been hot, man. And yeah, the knee. So what have you been doing? Can you ride the bike? Just lots of yoga stretching? Like what, are we just sort of shutting it down for a little bit until it's rebuilt, or what's happening with that?
I can give you a little bit of a, little insider, but day-to-day thing. So usually I start my days with like 35 to hour, depending on how I feel, like stretching session with like rolling, like activation and stuff like that. In the gym and stuff, I try to do a lot of eccentric stuff, a lot of like Spanish squats, because since it's tendinosis, when you kind of do repetitive motions, even little bits of repetitive motions, the tendinosis comes back like that. And that's my issue is I keep on having these coaches and like either national team or professional teams hit me up. I'm like, dang, I really can't avoid this. So I go there and then the tendinosis comes back right like that. So right now I'm just going to try to let it fully heal and then I'll be back and get recovered. But so yeah, I usually do that. And then I've been trying to do a lot of swimming workouts. But even swimming, man, like pushing off from side to side, that will kind of get it. Because I swim for like 35 minutes. So 35 minutes of pushing. It's equivalent to like 60, 70 jumps. So now I'm having to swim with pushing off with my right leg just to do it. So yeah, that's a little bit about it. And then I, do stim and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a rocky, like I still try to get some form shots every now and then, but I'm itching to play basketball again and just getting myself into game shape. I know it's going to be terrible, but I don't know. There's like a fire in me that's just going to love like just breaking my body down and just, sprints, feeling ready to throw up. I don't know. I'm excited for that. It's been too long. So.
Well, it's funny, right? When you're in a profession where you're relying on your body, right? And then your body isn't reacting the way you want. How do you maintain like a positive focus and outlook? I mean, I'm sure there's ups and downs. I'm sure you wake up in the morning some days feeling super sorry for yourself, and then something happens that maybe turns that around. But overall, like, how do you manage an even keel and perspective, knowing that your body will recover?
Yeah, man, you nailed it right on the head. It's a lot of up and downs. I just have to be grateful that like my injury is not something that needs a surgery. Like, I've dealt with this for 2 years and it affected my whole last season. because I kept on trying to recover, and they said, okay, just take 2 weeks and tendonitis should be gone in 2 weeks. And I take 2 weeks, it feels better, but then I play again. So it comes right back as it's tendinosis. So there's a lot of up and downs. Luckily, I've have some really great, strong support, and I have a really blessed life. So there's not too much outside factors that also bring me down. It's just more, me not being able to be where I'm at with basketball. But, I've done a lot of side things too, that like people would be like, wow, like this is amazing that I'm starting to do. I just got into acting. I did my first professional gig.
Let's go.
On the 9th. So, I'm going to be like an actor now too, as well, which is wild.
How'd it go?
It went well. Yeah? I'm not sure what too many details, because this is probably going to get released before the TV show gets released. Yeah. So, I'm not supposed to like post or anything about it. So I think I'm allowed to say that I did filming, but I can't say for what. Yeah. So I did that. And then now, I decided to kind of do like a little tip series that I've been kind of working on. I'm going to start releasing episodes like every other day, just to kind of help young hoopers, because I always get DMs like, hey, how can I do this? How can I do that?
Nice.
So I'm just trying to find things to kind of keep myself busy. But on those days, you're right. There are those days where, you just have this itching to just go and do the things that you love to do. And it's just, nope, you can't do it. And then it kind of hits hard. So,
yeah. I think you got to listen to your body and knowing that, like, when you're like someone like yourself who's been hooping for so long and you understand the process and the grind of it, that eventually you'll get there. And like you say, the last thing you want to have happen is sort of make progression and then let's get back out there and then sort of, money's on the line, career's on the line. So you got to make sure you're in a good spot. So good. Appreciate that reflection. That's cool that you're doing those things for the young kids, I think, because it's one thing I find myself, I'm 45, still coaching and teaching, but the game has evolved so much in my span and from my playing days to now coaching. And so young people like yourself, is still considered young for the record, but are still in it. I think those kids need it. Right. And I think it's cool that you are someone who's there and they can reach out and contact you. Right. I didn't have those people. It was like just the guys that I hooped with. There was no IG or whatever. Like, you can't email a pro and say, hey, tell me about foam rolling, so good for you, man. That's a fun little project. And I think one thing I'm always impressed with pro athletes is they always find a way, It's like, I'm going to use my brain space to do something, because if I sit here, I'm going to go crazy, right? And when you're used to that lifestyle, you got to do it.
Yeah. Especially, man. Like, I almost started getting into learning the guitar, but, I don't
want to push it that far.
Exactly. It's something that I really appreciate, because I do want to do one correction of my journey too. Before I actually went to Orangeville and all that stuff, I actually, at 15 years old, I left
That's what
home.
I want to get into. You're beat.
And I left home. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go. Let's get into it.
I left home and I went
ready
to San Diego. I went to San Diego at a prep school called Balboa Prep.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a very tough experience. But it's something
Time out. Okay. Why at 15? Let's talk about that. Basketball obviously becomes the sport that you're drawn to, you're enjoying. You're obviously feeling like there's going to be some success down the road. I mean, no one just jumps to San Diego, but why at 15 years old? I mean, you've got a nice looking beard now, but 15, you're still trying to grow armpit hair, man. Let's talk about that and why you made that decision and choice, and what that was all about.
Well, this is all going to come full circle with what I was going to be saying.
Yeah.
So when I was home, there was very, very little resources of what I could use to get better. I mean, still when I'm home, luckily I have a little bit more pull with some things, so I can get some high school gyms every now and then. But man, like, I can maybe, when I was 15, 16, I can maybe get into the rec center here 2 times a week to play basketball.
Wasn't it crazy?
And so as a person who's really serious about that, like, with my tips that I'm going to be releasing, I'm thinking you got to go daily, even just for like 30 minutes. If you want to be serious about basketball, you got to go daily. Just get that consistency, just get that feeling of the ball daily. I mean, just it's almost to be therapeutic for you. But when I was 15 and still kind of now, like, I'll probably struggle, or I'll have to pay a decent chunk of change to get hoop access daily.
Isn't that wild? And then these public schools, I mean, I teach at a private school, so I'm lucky. Dawes is my guy. Dawes texts me when he's in town. I open the gym for them, right? I'm just lucky to be in that situation. But I've got friends that work in public schools, like they shut down for 6 weeks. No one's allowed in. It's like, what are we doing here?
Just goes, yeah.
There's thousands of kids in the lower mainland that could just be in gyms hooping with a coach there, not just left to themselves, not a free for all. Like no one's going to be running around the school breaking in. They just want to hoop.
Yeah.
And like you say, you're a pro athlete and you got to pay like a $9 drop-in fee to go get a workout in. It's buck wild. Anyways,
I don't even get
that's
to
my
court
rant.
myself.
Yeah.
So like
you got a side 3-on-3 game. Yeah,
exactly. There might be some random kid just hucking granny shots. Yeah. So I'm trying to get hit in the ball, hit in the head with the ball. Because some guy it's actually happened to me. I got hit in the head by this one person twice because they're shooting air balls while I'm trying to do my workout.
Yeah.
So like that's luckily usually now I'm able to get my own gym access. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so going back, so I went to San Diego because I had the opportunity to, and I just thought it was the best opportunity. They had DeAndre Ayton on the team. So, he was already recognized as a number one player for his year, for his class. Mm-hmm. So I thought, if I can kind of do this and have success, it's, a lot of these kids are going Division I. I'll have the juice, right? Mm-hmm. In retrospect, going there did actually nothing for my career rather than actually disciplining me. Like I essentially went through a military camp with less regulations. Like that coach, I could write a book. I think I could literally open a lawsuit against him and I could write a book about it. Like I would not recommend that program to anybody. And this program's still functional. I think a kid actually recently from Surrey committed there and it's still the same coach. So I'm a little hesitant, but I think they might have changed their ways because I came there relatively when I was newer, but I almost wanted to hit this kid up and be like, hey, like this might not be what you're expecting it to be. Mm-hmm. I was out here boxing my teammates because that's how my coach was resolving things. Like,
nice.
Like just, it was not a healthy environment. But so I went to there and that's why I'm starting to open up these tips things because I want to be able to give players the tools, the guidance, and just kind of the know-how in BC or just even their little communities that they can improve and get better and get this next level kind of insider information without having to leave home like I did. Because there are a lot of talented basketball players I see all over the world. Mm-hmm. The three things that usually kind of happen, 3, 2, I don't know, they usually don't have the commitment to it. So they're not willing to make the sacrifices that other people are willing to make to get their spot. Because if you're not going to take that spot, somebody else is going to take their spot and they're going to move up the ranks. Mm-hmm. Don't really have the know-how. I didn't really know how to do a right workouts, like how to consistently improve by myself until my second year in college. Thankfully for Harp, because Harp every day when we work out, he's like, this is our routine. This is what we're going to do. So I was like, oh, thanks. I'm just going to take that routine, do it when I'm in college, right? Mm-hmm. I was able to get tremendously better, right? But I didn't know that before. I was just kind of, my routine was like, I think I really want to work on get dunking today. So I'll just try keep on dunking, seeing how high I get. This time, maybe I want to work on my shot. So maybe I'll just kind of shoot around. That's how I'll do it. No. Like if you want to get better, I'm going to shoot this many from this spot, this spot, this spot, this spot. I want this percentage. If it feels bad, like now I can do it. If the shot feels like it comes off, even if it goes in, I don't count the shot. There's so many kind of factors. So like I want 10 swishes that feel right from this spot, and I allow this many attempts, right? Like, and then you kind of develop a routine and you kind of take it, right? But I guarantee you talk to kids, all right, you put them in and give them a gym access to themselves, take yourself through a workout, they're going to be all over the place, right? I'm out here, like I have a structured warm-up routine that I do every time. That also helps me get better because I add ball handling with my warm-up while I'm stretching, right? So it's kill two birds in one stone. And there's all these kind of things, right? So I want to be able to kind of give that to kids wherever they are, because I didn't have that. And so, so that's why I went to San Diego. And that's why now I'm opening up these tips things. But in retrospect, San Diego didn't really help me. They didn't discipline me in basketball wise. They just made me more resilient. Because, there was out here, they would literally run you until somebody's going to quit the team. So somebody's leaving the team. Like it was brutal. I'm talking like I've been in practices where people had to fake injuries because they want to still have their pride. So they say, "Oh, I was hurt. That's why I left." And like, it wasn't because I quit. I mean, like it's but we're not talking men. We're talking kids like 16 years old, 15 years old. I'm out here going, I get clotheslined. My nose is bleeding. This is my go-to story right here, by the way. Yeah. I get clotheslined. My nose is bleeding because I went and covered my face because I just got clotheslined. My coach said, "Why don't you finish that? You're supposed to finish that. You know what? Give me 3 suicides on the sideline, all under 28 seconds with a gushing nose." There was so much blood on the floor, they had to shut down the gym after our practice was over. The girl opened a door and saw all this blood and was horrified. And so I had a whole sweat stain of blood all in my shirt. I remember I was wiping my face. I just saw all this blood. Like, this was not a healthy environment at all. Like I took me like 3-4 years to kind of get over a healthy view of basketball. I couldn't view basketball as funny anymore. It was a job. It was business. Because this guy was getting paid lots of money to have a successful prep school team, right? So, like, but now I'm resilient as heck. Like, I can think, you can put me through any basketball workout. Yeah, I might be unshaped to do it, but like, I tell you, I won't give up. I've been in so many circumstances where I should have given up. Everything was pointed to the door to give me up. Like I joined late to the team, so the coach was trying to test just me. Everybody was already conditioned and all that stuff. So he's trying to test me. He wanted me to give up, I think. Maybe he had another player, I don't know. Or maybe he's just trying to see how resilient I was. But he literally, there's times where he just singled me out and I was just running in front of the whole team. And there's a lot of practice. It wasn't because I was a bad kid or anything. I think it's just because I joined late and then, I didn't understand the drill. And so he's like, "Well, you got to run for not understanding." I just came here. I've been here for 2 weeks, So yeah, it made me resilient. So that's something I value from that, but I would not wish that for anybody. But so that was a big part in step 1 in my journey. And that's when I kind of realized that like I had to take basketball seriously. And then after that 15, I started going to prep school route and I kind of bounced all over. I did BC prep at home the first year doing that program. That was a whole story in itself. And then I did Orangeville, and Orangeville, because I was one of their guys, I was full ride there and stuff. I got treated like amazing there. So they
so both ends, huh?
Yeah. If you are one of their players, they will take very good care of you. They will make sure that anything. Even though there was some favoritism over the Athlete Institute team over our team, even though our team was undefeated in Canada, just because there was some characters on the Athlete Institute team that were high prospected and stuff like that, but they were all head cases. We still got treated decently well. They got treated royalty, but we got treated well. So,
what can we say about the people at Parkside, especially our guy Sam Payne, a huge supporter of basketball in our community? The gentleman does many things behind the scenes that people don't know about. And one of those is supporting our podcast from literally day 1. Sam reached out to us and said, "Hey, I like what you're doing. How do we get involved?" And what you can do is find them at any local government store or come down to the brewery, sit on the patio, sit in the back, listen to the music, come for music trivia night, whatever it is. The wide variety of beer that they offer is second to none. And Port Moody in the Brewers Row is a great place to be. We are so appreciative of Parkside Brewery, we can't even say it in enough words. Head down. We hope to see you Parkside. And if you can't, find a way to support because they do a lot for us. Cheers. So after that experience in San Diego, why did you was there a consideration to stay home? Like, it must have been tough, right? Because it's like, how do I know the next situation is going to work out for me after going through that? What did you do more research? Was there a different connection for you? Like, how did you know that taking the next step to another prep school would be okay for you?
Yeah,
that's a lot to go through at a young age.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's even some consideration, like, should I quit? Because I believe that this is what everybody's doing. I can tell you I've been a part of many prep schools, like in the US too, like even just sat on practice and stuff. Mm-hmm. They're not doing what we were doing, you know? So, but I thought this is what all American teams are doing. And this is how NBA players are made, right? So I thought, you know, am I able to do this for another 10 years? This is what NBA practice are going to be like, right? They're going to elbow me in the face and then expect me to run through a broken nose, right? So there was a little bit, but luckily I was able to kind of persevere through that. And I think that's why I went to BC Prep. I almost went to Holy Cross, almost went to Semi. Then Doug Dowell, who was the one that sent me over to San Diego, said he's opening up a prep school in BC, which was his own other show. But since it's somebody I knew and it's like in Canada, I'm still staying from home.
Sure.
There's so many factors that like I just felt more protected. Mm-hmm. So I was like, man, this is no problem. I'm still staying at home and I get to travel around and like, let's do it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. It had its different difficulties. It wasn't a physical difficulty. It was more a mental difficulty. I had to drive an hour and 15 minutes to school every day after just getting my license. You know what that does? So it was probably 3 hours of driving on probably a month of driving experience. You know what that results in? 3 accidents. That's what
really?
3 accidents over the course of the year. So I had my own struggles with that. So yeah, that was a whole nother thing. And then, you know, coach ended up getting fired. A different coach ended up getting fired because Doug wasn't the coach. And then like tournaments getting canceled. Man, we were playing tournaments with 5 people. 5 people. Like I think I teed out one game.
No way.
They were on the floor with 4 people, right?
Yeah.
Like this is some of the things I had to do with. But luckily, when I played against Orangeville Prep with that prep school, I think I scored like 38 points. Like this kid's Canadian, like we got to get him for his team next year. And so yeah, so that was really good for me. You know, it's kind of like you kind of said, everything happens for a reason. I think my path has been so just stitched. Like every little thing challenges me. Like I mean, Orangeville, it was a blessing, but it challenged me in a different way as well. Like shoot, like I had to figure out how to successfully like work through injuries and kind of stuff. And like I had some back problems that I was dealing with in Orangeville and just like kind of navigating that while still being able to perform. It was this whole nother thing. So my performance in Orangeville wasn't the way I wanted it to be, but I luckily still was able to kind of get some Division I coaches' attention and stuff like that. So
yeah, let's talk about that. Looking at you, this is crazy, but like looking at you, obviously, you know how to take care of your body. When did you start really like having a passion for the weight room and sort of training? And then you're at Orangeville. Talk about that process of starting to get looks and how you figure out and navigate your way to post-secondary. Yeah, I know the thing out here and all that effort, right? I know Joe Envelton was a part of that. I remember he coached that for, that might've been the same time. I don't know. He was talking about, he was like, I saw him at one of our tournaments. He said, yeah, we just finished a weekend. We had 5 guys, you know, because some of the kids got kicked out of school and just sort of like, yeah. So
that is such a messy. Yeah. So you're asking me kind of a little bit about the Orangeville process and recruiting. So yeah, I started getting some attention after.
Is this your junior year?
This would be technically my grade 13.
Okay.
So I started getting some attention AAU grade 12. Because, you know, everybody in the States was reclassifying. So I thought, okay, that's the best thing to do, right? And so I started getting some attention. My grade 12, I played with Dream Vision. Amazing experience there. You talk about this thing was like funded by some billionaire. They would food, all this stuff, shoes, gear. They were hooking it up at Dream Vision. I had a great experience at Dream Vision. I don't think they know how to run a successful team, but the people and character, I will never say anything bad about the people there. They kept on bringing new people and cutting everybody's minutes to like 20 minutes. And like when you have new people, it just didn't work well. But I started getting one attention for Dream Vision because mainly not because I'm skilled or anything, mainly because coaches loved how hard I ran the floor and how hard I rebounded. And they said, you know what, this is the type of guy we could cultivate into a Division I player. That's what we like. So, yeah, I think, I was like one of the more successful players that came from that team too. And they had some, good names.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that. And then I was planning on going to Holy Cross or semi, actually, just staying home. Maybe this basketball thing isn't going to be the way I thought it was going to be. Maybe I'll have to play CIS, UBC, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then, because the coaches, I got calls from, like, they were interested, but not, So then I got a phone call late in the summer, probably like August 1st, from one of my, to this day, favorite coaches, Coach Nate Johnson. And I remember him just saying, "Hey, buddy, Coach Johnson here, Orangeville Prep. We kind of saw a little bit of what you had in Alaska in that tournament, and we were really impressed. And we want to bring you for our starting spot here, full ride scholarship. You don't got to pay a dime. You're going to be one of our guys. We'll take care of you, and we're really interested in you. We don't really think we have too many solid options. And so, you're our number one guy. What do you kind of think about that?" I remember I just got out of the shower too. So I was like, okay, I'm not ready for like this serious, like, long conversation too.
I'm curious. Let me cut you off. Who are the people that you're leaning on through all these decisions, right? These are a lot of things to go through at some young age. Is it just kind of the family network and sort of, what do we think? Is it you and your own little brain? Like what?
Myself and I. I mean, even through my Division I process.
So your parents were just like, "We'll support you in whatever you choose. We got your back." Yeah.
Amazing. They financially, they helped me out, like flights and stuff like that. Cause I think if for Orangeville, if they really wanted to fly me out, like if they really wanted me, they would have flown me out, but I would have not gotten a return flight back until the season was over. So no Christmas, anything. Right. But yeah, my mom drove me to so many practice and stuff, but no, for decisions, it's me, myself, and I. That's what I'm trying to be for these kids talking about these tip things. Really, unfortunately, I truly believe, man, if I had just a little bit of a person at an early age that had some basketball knowledge or direction, I'd be NBA for sure. I would bet my life on that. I'm sorry. Like, because I gone to where I have been with literally like the amount.
That's why I asked. I'm like, because usually there is someone like, we're 114 episodes in, and then most, like 95% of the people have mentioned someone that's been a mentor, helped them make these decisions, which is why I asked, because you haven't mentioned anyone yet. I'm like, damn, like I know how dumb I was when I was 15, 16. Like, wow, it's crazy. Yeah.
So I would get opportunities, and I would pretty much just run it by my parents and say, "Hey, I think this is a good opportunity." And they'd be like, "You know what? That's what you want to do? Let's do it." Right. So, I mean, they would definitely, give their opinion, like being like, "Yeah, I think this is a really good opportunity for you guys, scholarship and stuff like that." But yeah, when it came to prep schools, like especially Orangeville, I don't think my mom wanted me to leave to Orangeville. I'm like, this is a big time program. Like, she's like, "Well, let's just stay home." Like she started hearing, like I started opening up to some of the things that happened at Balboa, and she still like is like gut wrenched when I still tell her some stories, because some stories will just pop up to my head, because my host family was not feeding me either there. It was crazy. Literally, like I said, I could write a whole book about that, open a lawsuit, but we won't get into that. But
I think everyone heard that part, but damn.
So when it came to that, like I still had the passion for it. I still kind of had the drive, and I don't know why I had belief I could do it. But like I said, like I feel
stubborn, huh?
Stubborn, right? Just really driven. That's honestly, it wasn't talent that got me where it was. Just straight drive. Like I said, that's what Division I coaches saw. They just saw how hard I played, and that's what I'm trying to tell kids. And that's why I'm going to make a new video soon about tips. It's just like, it's not really. They're not looking to see how many times you can put the ball between your leg and step back and shoot it. They're not really looking for that. They're looking at how hard this player can play. Yeah, there'll be some teams, if they want their all-star player, yeah, that's what they want. But
sure,
guarantee there's this many teams in the league, and there's probably only like couple teams that want players that play like that, right?
100%. I mean, you going through all these experiences, how many dudes did you come across that were just like you? It's like, what separates that, like how it's got to be, you got to find something in terms of your play, right? Not everybody's going to be the ball handling superstar. So, yeah,
and
man.
There's too many. And what I got this from my dad. My dad's went to the Olympics for judo.
Damn.
He's just a head down nose, like man, like he's frustrated with something, he'll literally just start headbutting it. Like, you know what I mean? He's just like, so I really got this like really gritty. I don't want to make this space because it's just how I feel inside. But you just get this gritty, like nose down, grindstone attitude from my dad, I think. And that's how it'd be. Like, like I would literally get elbowed in faces and like, some people go, oh, ref, oh, right. No, I'm just like, oh, he almost makes me play harder. I'm like, this hit me in the face. Okay, I'll get you back. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think as a big man, that's what they love, like that kind of psycho Dennis Rodman style, right? Like,
yeah,
you gotta be, if you want to be a successful big man, you gotta have a little psycho to you. You can quote me on that. But is so I think that's kind of what helped me out there is I just kind of this gritty, just relentless drive that through all the adversity that I kind of came through in my career allowed me not to give up. My dad always kind of tells stories of me as a kid that I was kind of just always relentlessly just doing my things, right? Whether it was wrestling with him or whatever. But so yeah, but like I said, I really want to be able to, I think there's a lot of talent and I think people just need some influence and positive to get where they were. Cause like I said, I'm almost kind of sad myself that I know I could have done these. I still will. I know I will be able to do this, but I just kind of put my timeline back because I didn't really have the guidance that I think I needed basketball wise. Otherwhere else, I don't want to try to say I don't feel bad for me. I had an amazing family and stuff like that, but just I didn't have basketball mentor. And so honestly, that's why I value Harp so much because he really helped change my career the right way. Look at basketball and stuff. So
that's dope. So I agree, and I think it's that you didn't play BC high school ball, but you're from here, so you've seen it. And so I think we're in this place right now, being a high school coach who's a little longer in the tooth, not sounding like an old head or grumpy, but it's like with the club system, who are the mentors? Is it the high school coach? Is it the guy you're playing club for, but you're paying to play club? So, it's this weird, murky area. And I feel like a lot of us that have been blessed to have enough talent to play the game at the next level, and even if not, but just have the knowledge, it's pay it forward, man. Who are the people that you can look out for, right? Someone did it for you, time to do it for someone else, and genuinely, right? From a good place where you're coming from now, because you didn't have that. And sort of just like, now if I can connect with one kid that sends me a DM, hey, how do you do this? And he contacts you in 6 months, is like, hey, the 30-minute stretching routine changed my life. Boom, right? So I just think we're in a weird place in BC because it's come on so fast in terms of that club system. And now it's just like, one, parents navigating, where do I send my kid? 2, am I getting my money's worth? And 3, who are those mentors when he's 17 or she's 17 or 18 that I can fall back on for advice, right? So you're making good points, man. And it's good I appreciate you sharing, an authentic experience. You're being very real, which is good and important because people need to hear it.
Yeah. So AAU here is just such a travesty. I think in the US, like you really are playing with people. Like AAU programs are almost like the top players of all your high school teams together a team, because those are the ones that are usually serious about. Like, there's some teams that are just their high school teams put together. Here, like it's so monetarily based. I talk bad about them a lot, but like I try not to. But like if you have like 30 teams that drive, you're not going to really be able to give each single player the care that they need, right? And so, and the thing that I hate is I'm starting to work with Johnson Hugh. He's an assistant coach for Semi. And he's trying to do great things for players for free. He said, hey, invite here. I just want to do this. You know how much backlash? I had a meeting with him because I'm trying to collaborate with him a little bit. I had a meeting with him. He's like, you know how much backlash I had from other coaches, like AAU people would be like, why are you stealing our players, all this stuff? Like, well, he's like, I'm not even opening up a club. I'm just trying to teach these kids how to be presentable gentlemen and play respectfully for free. I'm not even charging them. And there were still people, and then they start getting their parents here. This guy's a bad guy. He's not. And so the parents are like, hey, maybe you don't go there. It's like, so you're going to go to the guy who's charging you $1,000 to do this when this guy's giving me free and he's being, you know what I mean? So, and that's why I think we're going back to high school and AU. That's why I think Lafergie, I'm going to have to give him a little shout out. He did such a great thing for semi kids. And it's unfortunate that it kind of went down, but he won. Because he would always invite me. I never even played for him. Even after I was in high school, he still invited me to help get better. But he's like, hey, if you don't mind just saying some words to my kids. Like, he really, truly cared about those boys. Like, he did so many great things. Opening up the gym, took so many hours out of his life that wasn't even necessary. Like, he literally went above and beyond for those kids. And it's tragedy what happened. But he did all this stuff. And look at the success they had. No offense, but like, I played with some of these guys. They weren't the most talented players. But because they kind of got in every single day, they were able to develop into the players that they are. And he taught them how to be presentable and respectful people. And bam, like, they're having success. It's not a shocker to me. Like, work with these kids year round. In the summer, like, shoot, probably right now, they're probably putting up shots. You know what I mean? Like, tell me what other high schools are doing that.
Again, you have a school where it matters and the principal says, sure, you can have the gym. We've developed trust, right? Like, and my buddy Colin Plum's there now too. And he's been following the lead and he even texted me the other day, no lie, not making this up. Hey, do you want to, and I had something going on. It was Friday morning. He's like, we're doing a session from 9 to 12. Do you want to come speak to the kids? So there you go. It's been passed down already, right? And all for zero in the wallet, right? I hear you.
And that's what I love. Like, the stuff that I'm doing, like, it's really, luckily I'm from a place where I don't really need to focus on the monetary thing. I honestly, like, I really just want to help because I don't want people to be put through the situation that I have to do. And I think that's just the way to do it. But my only issue with this is moving forward is I don't want, because there's programs out there that'll do this, they'll take credit for doing the benefits that they did on these kids. And next thing you know, it's just bringing more dollars to them, right? And then they're not even teaching these kids good habits. I'm just going to say, I hate to say this, but if you look at a lot of the drive players that went Division I, a lot of them didn't stay in the program for more than 2 years. They transferred because they were not ever happy and satisfied. Because guess what? These Division I coaches are going to put some reins on you and they're not going to let you go do all these things, right? That's how basketball is. You shouldn't be a big man going tween, fading for the 3 air ball, right? Like, no, you're going to have some structure to the team. But if you're not able to play with structure because you never was taught how to play structure, or I remember even Jaden Cohey talking about when he went to college, he didn't even know how to do a pocket pass. I can tell you, RBL, we were working that when we were 8, a pocket pass. And Blake literally said, we're going to teach you how to do a pocket pass, right? Why did this guy literally get Division I and didn't know what a pocket pass was? Right? You asked Gene. I remember him talking about that. I follow him on IG. Like, I remember him talking about, like, he didn't know how to properly do a pocket pass and he didn't even know what it was. Right. So I think you have to, like, focus on these things and not just the monetary, but like that. If you're focused on making money, then where your focus is going to be, okay, let's just get more kids. Let's get more money. Let's blow up the kids that are successful. Probably not even to yourself, because they probably have parents that have money that hire trainers on the side for these kids. It's probably not you guys. And so, yeah, that's the tough thing. So I have so much respect, and that's why I think Johnson really learned a lot from Ed. And 10 years from now, he's going to be a big name in BC hoops. I really believe it, just because the way he's doing it and the ethics that he has behind it. Yes, there's going to be some kids and parents that are going to be turned away because they're going to listen to these ears. But when you're that genuine, like, eventually it gets through, right? Like,
100%.
Yeah, like, so I think that's just kind of my view on those things. Sorry, I kind of went off, but it's just like, and that's why I'm doing my tips things, because it's something I'm really passionate about. Like, I hate kind of seeing these kids kind of just get messed around the loop, because that's what happened to me, you know? So, yeah.
It's good, man. And I think, cool. And I think the thing that speaks to your character is, like, you're not coming from a place of anger or you're, trying to get back at anyone. You're like, I'm looking back on my experience. How can I change someone else's? And that's all people are asking for, right? Make the next person better. And so props to you. And thanks for being candid, man. I mean, everybody has different opinions on it. And I'm I'm happy to hear what you have to say, and I appreciate your thoughts and reflections on it. And I'm hoping that we can get into a good place with all this stuff, because it just has happened so rapidly. Because at the end of the day, when we coach, it should be about the kids, right? You know, you got to put food on your table, whatever you got to do, but are you in it for the right reasons? Well, even if you're a high school coach and you're getting nothing, like, are you in it so you can win titles and be like, look at me? Or are you in it to develop and have kids, create memories, be better people, be respectful when we're on the road, all those things that you've already touched on, and you've lived it and seen it. So with all that, how did you decide on Lehigh? You know, I mean, obviously those kind of mid, like 2011, 12, I believe, couple of tournament appearances, like a good program. So how did you come around to making those choices? And again, was it just JK figuring it out, or how did we go through that? Yeah, he's nodding.
Yeah. I mean, my mom was definitely pushing me to go to Lehigh because of the academics. The coach it was one of the only coaches that was calling my mom and be like, hey, so like, we'd really love to have James here. He's a clever man. Clever man. But great education at school. Your son will be making good money out, even if he doesn't play basketball, right? My mom's here. So my mom was definitely pushing me to do that. But honestly, like I said, everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So they had two big men, both injured, like long-term injuries. One guy didn't even never play basketball again, but they gave their thing. So Lehigh, I remember I was on the phone being like, yeah, like, so I see you guys have a lot of big men on your roster. Like, what are you talking? He's like, these guys can't even play. He's like, we need you. So unfortunately for them, and I'm really angry still at myself. And this is where you kind of get back to, where I could have been and stuff. We were so talented. We should have easily won a championship that year. The reason why we didn't, me. Because I came into this freshman role, didn't know how to properly work out, didn't have my mind right. I was a head case. If I got foul or meditation really helped me with those things. But
there you go.
So I didn't know how to properly work out. And there were so many times you had this nice guard, pass first, Karan Ross. Shout out to Karan. Hook me up. James Karnik with the hook shot. Bonk, right? I just wasn't playing consistent because I wasn't exercising and training consistently and doing the right things, right? And so we ended up losing the semifinals, but we were top in the league. Easily should have won. But literally just because I couldn't be a reliable person for them, I'm mad enough to say we didn't win a championship, actually. So, but this is the thing. I came into as a freshman playing 30 minutes a game because we had injured big men.
Yeah.
And I worked. It's not like I didn't work hard. That's why my coach played me. My coach, he had another guy, Ed Porter. He was very disciplined. He was very smart about the things, right? He was more consistent than me, but he couldn't out hustle me, right? And he was like 6'7", 6'6". So like, there's something that you need a big body for. And so it put me in a situation where I had to take this lot of responsibility. Man, there was some dang lows in that. Like there was some times where, I just feel so terrible because I wasn't performing the way I wanted to perform. But it kind of gave me a retrospect. And I met Harp that next summer. And I was like, whoa, this is what I got to do to be successful. Like, I was like, okay, he kind of gave me the secret. I just got to keep exercising. He taught me some exercises that are some workouts that will kind of improve my handles, improve my rhythm. And honestly, I just did those so consistently that I stopped missing those little chippies that, are sometimes like 90%, right? They became 99%. So yeah, I might miss one if I get kind of tapped a little bit, right? That's happened. NBA players miss wide open layups, right? But there were some times where I'm wide open, just bonk, get my rebound, bonk, right? And what the hell? Like, so those started going away because I was able to kind of exercise consistently. You know what actually started happening? When I started having this tendinitis, it started coming back because I wasn't able to exercise consistently because I was trying to baby my knee. I was like, man, I'm feeling like freshman James right now because like you need that touch. You got to get in the gym consistently. So Lehigh actually was a really good thing for me because it put a lot of responsibility on me. Honestly, responsibility I didn't deserve. Like I wasn't talented enough. There's probably a lot of big men that, well, I guess maybe freshmen. I was qualified for a freshman, but that didn't deserve where but I got it because I had to, injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me approach the game like, okay, I'm getting all these minutes. This is ideal situation. Honestly, if I just perform the way I want to perform, what is stopping me from getting where I want to get? Right? That's really it. Some people have to deal with politics where this guy needs to play 20 minutes and this guy needs to play 20 minutes. So you're not really a little bit of that happened to me at Boston College, right? Like I killed myself the workouts. I was averaging almost 10 points in 22 minutes. That's
I saw that.
A full game, I'm almost averaging 20 in the ACC. That's pretty impressive, right? But we had backups and stuff, and he was really talented too. So like we had to play us both, right? And for some reason, they didn't want to put me at the 4. So, but at Lehigh, I had all that given to me. So it really allowed me to approach the game in the way that I should have approached it and be much more mature. And, I started, because of that, cut out drinking, cut out girls, like I focused, right? So it really helped me grow and be to where I was. So I think that was really good for me as well in my journey.
Whatever you're doing right now, listening at work, rolling in your whip, going for a walk, whatever it is, hang on for a sec. You like jerseys? You like stance socks? You like throwback? You like shoes? You like anything related to basketball? Hit up ATOB Ball. And if you're not able to be there in store at Langley Event Center, check them out on the web. And I guarantee you'll find something you like. Give us a mention and you'll never know. Shout out to our boy Jeff. ATOB Ball for life. Why do you feel like it never clicked before then? Was it just because it was more of a high school scenario? It was lots of games? Like what changed there? Just curious. And interesting, I've never heard anyone say like I was getting the minutes I didn't deserve. But you're at least reflecting and knowing like maybe at some point they might not be there. So I better get my in the pile here, right?
So what clicked was working it with Harp, because before then, what I would do is I had no structure. I said, okay, I'm going to go work out today, but I didn't have a plan of what I was going to work out. So literally I'd do some hook shots. I kind of had some lessons I had from college or coaches, like some things to do, right? But it wasn't structured to where I was doing consistently. So like, for instance, if I'm trying to calculate you as a school, right? And one day you're working on science, one day you're working on math, one day you're constantly separating, you can't really see the improvement. I guess you can say, oh, now I understand this question, but still, like I'm trying to do it in a situation where you can't really see the visible improvement, because now if next week you go to math, you might forget everything that you learn. You're kind of brushing up on it, right? So when you're able to kind of work consistently and doing something, you can kind of see the improvement. Like, oh, these switches are feeling really good. You know what I mean? Like, okay, now I can kind of extend my range, start doing all these things. So it allowed me. And so that's what kind of working with Harp, because Harp, every time we got in, we'd start the same way. He might add like one new exercise that we would do, but the base line of the exercise was the same. And we're doing the side to side thing. So we'd be doom, attack the hoop, right? And my first time I was like almost tripping over my feet, right? And then by the end of the summer, I was like, boom, 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 right? It was just explosiveness, right? Like you could visibly, if we filmed it, Harp actually filmed me my first day working out. I wonder if he still has that video. I could be night and day from the start of the summer to the end of the summer of how my coordination, all that was, right? Because I'm doing the same thing every day. So when I was able to see that, you're able to see the improvements. And now when you've improved upon something and you're so consistent with it, all right, let's see if I can take the ball over and do a reverse, right? Like you're able to kind of change some things. And now, okay, that felt a little bit funky. Let's put that in the routine now, right? And now, oh, wow, that's feeling really good. Look, I'm almost 100% doing that, right? Like, so you're able to kind of do that. But before, I never really had that. And I didn't have that guidance of how to properly routine a workout. So I think that it's going to be my tip video 4 or something is, develop routines for how you exercise, because then you can actually monitor how you're improving. And I think that's really good for you, because then if something's not improving at all, you're like, okay, I must be doing something wrong. Either I'm not putting enough arc on my shot or something like that. Like there's something structurally wrong with this shot. So I have to look back into it and see how it is, right? And there's been times I remember I was doing this 1 foot like kind of floater off the backboard, and just each time it was just way too hard off the backboard, just bouncing out. Like I 20% on that shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, well, okay, maybe it's because I'm not shooting the ball. I'm throwing the ball more. I have to kind of, it's a floater more. So I have to kind of get it up and soft touch. And next time I started doing that, and my percentages went up, right? So
yeah. The meat hook, man. Everybody needs a good meat hook down low.
Yeah.
Dope. I love it. Awesome. So good in terms of that. And and like even at our school, right, see kids working out, and it's like, what are you trying to work on today? Are you just here to like say that you got in at 6 and you worked for an hour, or did you actually produce something, And that's good stuff. Yeah.
But you can't kind of fault them, You can't really.
Sure, of course. Them. No, just don't know any better.
I'm never getting better. It's like, but are you really? You're just kind of going around, right? So now, if you've been told what to properly do, and then you don't, then you can fault them, right?
Yeah, for sure. So a couple of good years, you're hanging at Lehigh. Why the transfer? Why the move? You go over to Boston College, like you talked about. I mean, your numbers speak loudly. I caught you on ESPN a couple times, So I think I saw you play against Duke. And why the move over and transition from there?
There was a couple factors. I felt Lehigh didn't have the facilities for me to improve. Like their ice bath was pretty much just a trash can, so like it was very evident.
So was that mid-major sort of feel? Yeah, even lesser.
There's some mid-majors that invest in their sports programs.
Got you.
They're almost better than Boston College, actually. I've seen mid-majors.
Sure.
But it was so prevalent that Lehigh does not really give a crap about sports. Like it kind of is sad to say, but it really is. We would get money from CJ, and it would just get spread out through all the programs. Like it wouldn't even come to us. We had to choose either a new shooting machine or winter coats at that program. So obviously, we're like, okay, we'll get the new shooting machine. Like, you know what I mean?
Is Lehigh in Ohio?
No, it's in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. So it's still pretty cold.
And it's on a mountain.
You need those. And it's on a mountain.
So it was. So for those freshmen, luckily I had my old winter coats. For those freshmen, it probably was a little cold, right?
Yeah.
But so I just decided that like I needed a place that would invest in sports. There was no tutoring services for athletes. It was literally like the tutoring would go from 5 to 8. And we typically either have practices 5 to 7 or 7 to 9. So there was a very small window to get tutoring, and sometimes the tutoring wouldn't even happen. So when you're gone for a week, you need tutoring. No, but so Boston College was a good fit for me. One thing that I really liked was that the coach said he got fired, but he said like, I don't care what type of player you are right now. We are going to develop you and want you to be this player, right? And they said a player that, is more comfortable with the ball, that shoots and stuff like this. So I thought, okay, that's nice, because at Lehigh, there's some practice where I had some really good percentages, but my coach was still like, yeah, if this under 8 seconds in the shot clock, you can shoot the ball. I'm like, but coach, I'm putting so much work into why can't? But because I developed myself as a person that wasn't shooting the ball, even though I worked a whole summer on shooting, he still didn't really see it, right? And didn't really work with me at all. Like my coaches weren't working on my shooting. And I knew for me to be, I'm not going to be a back to the bounds center in the NBA. I'm going to have to be able to spread the floor. When I get into the NBA, that's what I'll have to do. So I knew that this is shooting me in the foot. Yes, I might put up some numbers, but it's shooting myself in the foot because I'm not going to be in the NBA doing that. So Boston College really kind of gave me the ability to shoot. I still don't know if it was the right move my first year there, because the way their COVID protocol was so messy. I couldn't even get to the gym. Like that was almost a throwaway year for me too, as was a lot of players. But like,
sure. I
mean, Doss was telling me they were getting him in the gym since June. I was still locked in here since June, right? So, and they said no real regulations. Like we were
interesting. That's interesting,
only to get
right?
in there for practice.
Yeah.
Only getting there for practice, and they would spray the gym with this soapy crap. The ball was so slippery.
Yeah.
And I remember just telling us like, like we can get in whenever we want. They open up the gym for us. But I'm like, you serious, man? So like, I
Yeah.
still don't know if that was the right move for me, because these more educational schools, they do it more by the books, right? There's more
Sure.
sports, they'll find a way, right?
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Interesting.
think I don't know, but my last year there with the new coach and less kind of regulations, Coach Grant, I learned a lot from him. So I'm grateful for him. Um, yeah, I wish I could have played more. I still performed relatively well, but yeah, it's a tough call. You never really know, right? Like, hey,
Well,
if
I
I
mean,
went, I don't know, Arizona State that was offering me and stuff like that, maybe I would be in the NBA right now. I don't know,
mhm.
but it's all part of the journey, man. So it's yeah. But at the end of the
Pred-
day, I had a good experience there, learned some valuable things. So yeah.
predicting a pandemic would be tough too.
Yeah. Well, no, I transferred. This is what my parents thought I was crazy. Talk about you. Who's guiding your decision? My parents thought I was crazy because during the pandemic, I was like, hey,
I'm out.
I'm going to transfer. They're like, and the coach, obviously, you know, my coach is a clever guy, calls him.
Oh, so you got there after like the September after the pandemic hit. Okay,
Yes.
got you.
So
Yeah.
my coach called my parent. If your son transfers, we will take away his scholarship. He's not welcome back here if no other teams pick him up. My mom's just stressing out. My dad's just stressing. Like, what is this guy doing? I'm like, guys, I got this. Like, those, look at my numbers. I was injured, but I came back from my injury. I was still dropping multiple 20 games. Like, I injured my ankle. I had like grade 3 ankle sprain. Like, almost all the ligaments in my ankles were torn. Like, dude, the doctor wanted to operate on it, and I was still like, no, no. So I was able to come back from that and still playing. That's why COVID actually helped me out a little bit, because it gave me more time to recover. Because I was like, everyone on hold. My ankle, my Achilles was still fat, and I was playing on that. And so, yeah, so I ended up doing the transfer, and then I remember they were like, shouldn't do this. And the second I put my name on the portal, I think I got like 55 calls.
Really?
I was on the phone all day. I'm like, really? You guys didn't think I'm like, oh, this is Providence right now? Like, you know what I mean? I had like all these like top schools calling. I'm like, you really think this was the move? Like, I think it was, right? So, so I'm happy with that. It's just so tough to know. What I really did is I waited, because there's what Arkansas would do is they would just look up everybody who's averaging more than 11 points and offer them. The guy did not watch any of my film. Like, the player he was describing was not me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you guys are literally just offering me because of my stats, right? And you look, they took 5 transfers that year.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, like 2 of the transfers did well, the other 3 sat on the bench, right? So, you know, so I was really just kind of put my heels on and just like put the brakes on, and just waited to just see like which teams were calling me frequently and were obviously interested. And Boston College was one of those teams. So
yeah, nice. And so things wrap up there, and then it's like, you know, did you get any workouts with any teams, or talk about that process? And then sort of, you know, you're becoming a pro now, right? I mean, I'm sure at times maybe playing Division I, you feel kind of like a pro, but you're like, actually, there's going to be like real bread on the table here. Talk about those processes and those things. Yeah.
So I had a lot of agents hitting me up. I was going through this little interview process. And this is tough, man.
That's weird.
Like agents guaranteeing me workouts.
Right.
And in retrospect, I feel like I should have signed with one of them, because the second if they didn't, and then the one where I was just like, oh yeah, we'll get you workouts, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't guarantee me one. In his fairness, he was more selling point was this big training camp, which I'm also very grateful for, because I learned a lot at this training camp. And I had a lot of my routines from this training camp. So I'm very grateful for that, because these other agents weren't going to take me through a training camp. So in hindsight,
such a wild world to filter through, man.
Yeah, in hindsight, yeah, but I ended up not getting any workouts. Whatever, like my agent was like, you are out of all the guys, I think you're the most chance. Like, I'll tell this in front of the face. Like, he said that in front of all the guys. Like, I believe James has the most chance, blah, blah, blah. Like, he thought I was this guy, right? He saw my film, all this stuff. So I was like, okay, if I'm this guy's guy, like I'm his number 1 selling point, I'm gonna get a workout. Well, other guys got workouts, I didn't. Unfortunately. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just blacklisted in the U.S. I don't know.
Yeah.
They love me in Europe. They love me in Europe. But so yeah. So I didn't end up getting any workouts, but I did this whole training camp, got myself in shape for that. And then by the time the workout window was kind of closing, like 2 days before it closed, I was like, okay, I don't think I'm gonna get a workout in these next 2 days. So I signed with the Bandits. I was all in shape for the Bandits. My knee, I was having tendonitis at that point, but shoot, I still was averaging like 15.4 points a game with my knee flaring up. That's the issues, because I went straight from my season straight to like training for like, getting ready for NBA. And I went straight from that to the Bandits, straight from Bandits national team, then my pro contract. So I had a break. And so it's why you're like this, honey. You know what I mean? So like, it's so,
what was it like playing back in BC? I mean, after all that time, I mean, we had Merrick Klassen on the show talking about the same thing, right? Just sort of like leaving home at such a young age. It's like where your roots are, but you never actually get a chance to hoop there, right?
Yeah. No, this was a dream come true, man. And then just the way I performed, so happy, man. Just
yeah.
My grandma, who actually passed away, she was not looking too great. I don't think she was actually able to see any of my games really before that. She might have came to like one Lehigh game, like when in my second year. So she wasn't really watching my basketball. She was like a pretty oxygen tank and all this stuff. And she was able to come out to a couple of those games, and just having her there and being able to kind of do that with my family just really made me feel connected with my family. So honestly, that's my first year. There's nothing I would trade for that, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, give me an NBA contract right now, I'd still take that Bandits year. Just kind of being able to be with my family and stuff like that. That was very valuable to me.
If you're a basketball player out there in the Lower Mainland or BC in general, and you're looking for somewhere to play, we have a proud sponsor, and that is PGC Hoops. You can find them at pgchoops.ca. And the thing that makes them unique, and that we're proud to sponsor them and them be a sponsor of us, is it's a true nonprofit basketball organization found in the east side of Vancouver. The mission is cost-effective elite basketball for all. Find the website, take a look, register your kids, register yourself, look for the programs. And if you have any questions, reach out to me and we can contact you with the right people. This is a good program for the right reasons. We appreciate you, PGC Basketball. That's dope. I love that. And also kind of like in the back of your mind too, probably a little bit of y'all remember me? You know what I mean? Because like you are a BC boy, but like you made choices to move. So it's like, hey, still here, So I think it's...
I don't think they did remember me. I'm like,
yeah.
Man, like I had kids.
This guy from Iceland, or where's he from?
Yeah, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from here. I'm a local. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
I remember my mom was pissed because they had like those Tamanois boys that signed onto the team, and they got all this news preference. Like she was talking to me about it like in May, and she's like, "You're like averaging one of the best out of big men in the league, and no news station is picking you up."
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of used to it at this point. She's like, yeah, but like, why do you think that is? I was like, I really couldn't tell you.
No.
So like, I got no recognition for that. And I was like, man, like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I was kind of dominating that league besides my last 2 games, which the reason why my last 2 games I didn't perform is because I wanted to go join the Czech national team. And the team, they weren't letting me go.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, hey, like, we have some tight connections. You don't want to be in bad books with us. And I was like, really, you guys are going to do this to me? Like, you're doing really great for yourself thus far. Like, I wouldn't want to end on bad terms. I'm like, this is how you guys are going to do this. It's a national. Like, this is what I've been dreamed about. Like, so I honestly, I wasn't too happy to be there.
Yeah.
And
it is a unique league that way, right? In terms of like, even like Diego, who was with the Bandits, and then, he's with them the whole time. And then UVic's now in like the Bahamas or something. So they go, and then other dudes are doing what you wanted to do. It's like, there's national team stuff happening right now. So it is kind of unique in that sense where there's a lot of coming and going. It feels like, if teams allow it, right? Which is,
My issue was Mike. I liked Mike for our Bandits coach. I forgot what's his last name. Shoot. But he he actually had a relationship. He was actually assistant coach for the Czech national team before.
Right. Yeah,
And
he was.
So since he knew that, he was like kind of calling them like, oh, well, be realistic. Like, how do you see James and stuff? So since he knew that they were more evaluating me and they weren't guaranteeing me a spot, because they're like, we want to check the kid out. He was like, oh, like, don't bother your time there, blah, blah. Like they still had their go-to guys that they would have played. But like realistically, there's this four-man that, no offense, I feel like I was a lot better than not the starting one. Yeah. And so I was like, he played a decent chunk because the other guy, Jan Vesely, he was pretty old. So he's only playing like 25.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I could have got like a solid 16, 15, maybe even if they pay me a little bit at the center too, like 20 minutes at a national team level. Like, I'll take that. I don't need to be starting at my age, So
for sure. Yeah. Mike Taylor, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. He was in Winnipeg this year and I think he might have actually got coach of the year. He did a good job.
Yeah, no, I liked him a lot as a coach. I think his philosophy is really good. It's just, he's very good at getting players to do what he wants on his agenda. So like first one, my grandma literally collapsed and was an emergency, and we had a tournament, away tournament to Scarborough and all that stuff, like in 2 days. And I was like, Coach, I can't go to that. And he was like, oh, like we'll get you out there. I'm like, no, like this is time for my family. I got to do this. So like he was throwing a lot of tools at me to get me to go. And luckily Dylan and oh my goodness, who was the head coach this year?
Kyle Julius, thank you, Kyle.
They were supportive of me, but Mike was really pushing to get me to go on this trip.
Yeah.
But so
how did the Czech national team, like, how did that all come around? Did you get your passport like right away? Like, how did they come calling you? Like, what is that?
17.
Okay. Yeah.
So my dad, because we always wanted to, like, potentially, my brother's living there right now.
Did your dad do judo for the Czech, or did he do it for Canada?
Canada.
Okay. Yeah.
But when he was in like world championships, all the Canadian guys were speaking French. So he was hanging out with the guys.
Yeah. It's the most Canadian thing ever, right? It's like,
and so he was helping the Czech guys to hit on the American and Canadian girls team. So it's pretty funny that story. So yeah, but so I ended up, the reason why I got that is my dad made me a little website. He thought like, hey, like, I
saw that. I saw your little website. Yeah.
I was kind of telling him about like what LeVar Ball did for his kids. His parents were so involved with what their sports, and he became kind of a figure himself that it really, like, it got those boys to a level that at first I didn't really think they deserved. Like, they've obviously put the work, but they got a lot of attention early on. There's a lot of high school players that were probably better than them that they were getting more attention than, right? And I think that's kind of like the middle one shouldn't have been even a chance at G League or like two-way. Like, he was not that good, but he still got the chance, right?
Yeah,
just the name.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. I was just kind of telling him about that story and all that, and he was like, okay, well, maybe I should kind of get more involved in that. I'm like, if you want to do that, then like feel free to. So he kind of made this website, but from that website, it sells like Czech, Canadian, blah, blah, blah. They found it from that website.
No way.
Yes.
That's crazy.
But you know what's crazy? So I was a first team all-star in provincials for U17 in Canada.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of great things. I hadn't even got any. I got one invite during COVID.
Yeah.
For the Olympic team.
Yeah.
And then they changed coaches, and I was crickets from them. No follow-up, nothing. Well, I got nothing from Team Canada. I was a first team all-star, no like U19 team, nothing. And it took them just seeing me on the website being like, oh, maybe we should check this guy out. Oh, I like him. Let's get him down here in Czech Republic. I'm just like, what the? And mind you, Czech Republic beat Canada too.
That's crazy.
That's why they qualified for the Olympics in 2020, because they beat out Canada. And I was like, you know what? You deserve that, Canada. So, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So now what, man? Like, thinking about kind of where your knee's at, what's next for you, and what's the best situation for you going forward before we have some fun questions?
Exactly. So my plan right now is, my knee's feeling really good. but it's still a little sensitive to the touch. I think that's a little bit of the tendinosis is still there. So I'm going to wait till that sensitive to the touch fully resolves. Once that kind of gets in, then I'm going to start getting back to the training that I do. Once I do probably about 2.5 weeks successfully, I'm going to hit my agent up, get me back into things. So I can't really tell time frame. I'm just going to be as patient as it is, do the things I got to do to get myself healthy. But, so.
Well, if you need a gym,
thank you.
Burnaby, not too far, man. Not too far. We got you.
I mean, I'm willing to make the trek out. So I appreciate you.
Harp and Dawes, man. Those are my dogs right there.
I love it.
Dawes almost hits me up too much. I'm like, damn, man, really? You get me out of bed for this.
Yeah. But that's what I love about Harp. He's like, you should have seen what he was willing to do with me, all for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm talking waking him at 6 a.m. with me, then getting back in at 5 p.m. Like, man, I owe that dude so much. Like, we're probably going to collaborate in the future, and we're going to have a successful thing in the future. I already know. I owe him that. If that's what he wants to do, I'm down for that. But he, so sorry, where were we at? Where were we at with this?
Just getting yourself ready.
Oh, yeah. So,
hit up your agent.
So after I kind of get that and hit my agent, I'm looking probably to play like Leb Gold in Spain. I had a couple offers that I had to sadly reject because I didn't want to get put in a team too quickly with my knee.
Sure.
So I'm going to wait for that Leb Gold, hold free from Leb Gold. I might even try to opt to take like a month contract because I'm confident in myself. So I might try to do like a month contract for ACB or something like that, higher level, just to kind of prove myself. And then from that, sky's the limit. So
see where we go.
That's kind of my goal, So I have to find an agent that's willing to do a 1 month contract, because a lot of agents don't want to look for that. They want to just seal guys and,
Sure.
So yeah, I'm looking to maybe do like a month contract at a higher team that's willing to kind of just take the chance for a month. And then just, take it from there. Cause I know once they see my work ethic and all this stuff and my drive, it's a done deal. I think I just need the exposure, to be honest. So that's my plan for that. And
love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Let's go.
Okay.
Sorry.
What's the greatest bag of chips out there?
Oh, it is ketchup Lay's.
Sheesh. He came in hot. He's ready. Ketchup Lay's, no doubt. Yeah.
No doubt. maybe some dill pickle in there.
Okay. You like the tangy.
Yeah.
Okay. But we're not pushing it with salt and vinegar too much.
That's a little bit too much for me.
I feel you. This ruins the roof of the mouth. Yeah, I got you. Okay, let's stick with ketchup then, since that was so fast. How do you feel about ketchup on macaroni?
A little splash of ketchup I'm with.
And stir it in there.
Yeah, stir it in there.
Nothing too crazy,
really
but
soak it. The ketchup is too much. But yeah, a little splash is good.
Okay. Can it be any seat in the house, best seat, dead or alive, the artist, doesn't matter. If you had the opportunity to go to a concert or a few concerts, who would you go see? You can take anybody you want.
Gotta go to Drake. Show some Canadian love.
Okay. Have you seen him before?
No.
Have not. Okay.
Would love to see Drake.
Yeah. Concert tickets are crazy these days too, man. It's like you got to take out a new mortgage just to get a ticket. It's like, wow.
Yes.
Okay, Drake.
If I could, you said dead or alive.
Yeah.
Big fan of Linkin Park back in the day.
So, rest in peace.
So I would probably do Linkin Park too. So that would probably be my two, Drake and Linkin Park.
Good pull. We've never had a Linkin Park reference.
I mean, you're talking about big man being psycho. That's okay, let's get going. Like you can't. Rap makes people soft sometimes. You got all these drugs and stuff. You got to be seeing about drugs. Being ready to play a basketball game, you got to be ready to just give it your all. Yeah. So
I like it. Okay. You've got some quiet time these days. Are you books or are you movies?
More TV shows, because I like to put something light on while I stretch and stuff like that.
What you got?
What have I been watching recently? Usually I just try to do like lighthearted things. So I'll put some Family Guy on. I watch The Witcher.
Sorry, every time I see something Family Guy related, I die, man.
Right? It's good to just, because the thing about Family Guy, I could be really into stretch and just like hurting myself, and I look and get a quick laugh, and then focus back on the.
Oh yeah.
I was watching The Witcher, if you know
Okay.
what that is.
Yeah,
But
I
the
haven't
thing
seen it,
is,
but
it's really good. But there's
Mhm.
times you get into it that I noticed I just stopped stretching. I'm just like glued in. I'm like, damn, I'm supposed to be stretching right now. So, yeah. What else? Man, I try to stay. I get into my cousin is interning for my dad right now, so I'll get into some Smash Bros. Ultimate with
Oh,
him.
there you go.
That's kind of like all I do for my free time.
Love it. Love it. All right. You and four dudes, you're going to the blacktop.
Okay.
So it's like call your own, first to 15, 21, whatever. You can either go like all-time guys, like favorite NBA guys. You could go favorite teammates, dudes that you would just roll with. Who's coming to mind? You and four guys or girls, don't matter. But you got to like winner stays on. Like we need, call your own, right? So it's a different game out there.
Well, maybe this is just how I'm wired, but I'm gonna take guys that I like their mindset because I feel like I can learn for my future. So I'm probably gonna try to take prime Steve Nash, prime LeBron, probably Kobe. There's probably a lot to be learned from Kobe.
Whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a nice big man there that I could probably get something from. Maybe like a Dirk.
Hey,
Do a Dirk. What I can learn from Dirk.
did you see his Hall of Fame speech? It's pretty dope.
I've been seeing some clips. So I
Snippets.
gotta get a little bit more look into that.
It's only like 9 minutes. I watched it yesterday. He has some pretty good jokes. He's good. Yeah, Dirk's dope. Nice. I like that. Nash, Kobe, LeBron. You're at the 4, Dirk at the 5.
I think so. Yeah.
I think you might do all right. Who have been some of the most important people in your life?
Family for sure. Regardless of basketball guidance I've gone, I wouldn't be where I was if I didn't have my family backing me up and driving me to practices since a young age and taking the time commitment. So my mom and dad, huge. Grandparents, huge. My grandparents helped because I didn't get a full ride scholarship to Balboa when I was 15. So they helped, pay a couple grand for me to go there, which huge.
Nice. Wow.
And then, obviously, like I said, I mentioned a couple of times, harp's been really big for my career-wise since it's more a basketball podcast. But family all around, brother, sister, really helping me push for success. When my ankle was swollen during COVID, my brother was pushing up the swelling of my ankle. Huge help for me. Yeah, man, I've just been so blessed with a lot of people in my life, that coaches and stuff like that I've never really come across too many bad apples. There's a lot of good apples I've come across in my life, and luckily I've been able to work with them. So all those good people I've been able to work with, all of them. I can't even begin to start mentioning all of them, but yeah, coaches, players,
Nice.
A lot of good people.
Love it. Yeah, they literally the saying takes a village, right? So
Exactly.
Last question for you, but you got to help us. Who would you like to see on a hoops journey? Who's got a good story out there that you'd like to see? But you're the link, you're the connect, you're the guy. Who do you think?
Gotta get my guy Brevin Galloway.
Okay.
Brevin Galloway. He'll have some good things to say. He's one of those guys that has a very positive outlook on life, and his journey tore his ACL, going into probably what should have been his best year. Because he just got his starting role at Charleston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's a great guy. Got married recently. Unfortunately, wasn't able to make it to his wedding. I think Brevin would be a great guy for you to have.
Dope. Awesome. It's on you now, man.
I'll give you a link. I'll give you a hookup.
Okay, good. Now, listen, it's been a pleasure to chat with you, get to know you a bit more. Like I said, many people really wanted to share your story. Now I know why. I mean, you threw the remix in right at the start with San Diego and took it from there. And I think, lots of good takeaways, some things for people to think and reflect about. Any last thoughts or reflections for you before we let you go, and continued, success. Hopefully that knee recovers well.
Good, you.
And whenever you find yourself back on the court, we'll be watching it. Like I said, man, the offer is open. It may be 6 a.m. before school starts, but
I'm with it.
Mikasa, Sukasa, man. So hit me up. But any last thoughts before we let you go?
Yeah, I'll just say if you guys hear anything you want me to elaborate on, and you can always reach out to me at James Karnik on Instagram.
That's KARNIK.
Exactly. I try to get back into people. Like I said, I'm releasing a series, try to help some tips. So if you got some younger viewers or just people that would like some tips, maybe even to share their kids, can find me there. I'll try to answer you. And yeah, just be thankful for the day. Be thankful for your parents. Be thankful for, if you're Christian, thankful for God. And yeah, just, treat people how you want to be treated. That's what I gotta say.
Like I like to say on the show, we just church on a Tuesday. I love it. Dope, man.
Amazing.
All the best. Thank you. A great episode. So many great reflections. I mean, across Canada, this podcast and kind of your situation and what you've been through is super unique in terms of 115 episodes. In my brain, I'm trying to think, and some of the stories are very unique, and I think people can learn from it. So thank you for being vulnerable and sharing those. And like we said, on behalf of the show, best of luck. And I'm dead serious, man. If you need a gym, we got you. And all the best.
Thank you.
You got an amazing episode. Thanks to our sponsors, and we'll see you on the next one.